Hi, my name's Tom Partridge and this is my first YouTube video. And for my first video I just wanted to talk about American TV personality Bill O'Reilly. Now, some people might say, why should I care about Bill O'Reilly? I mean, why would you care? You're British, you're a limey. But the truth is, I don't really care about Bill O'Reilly, but still, he's a very interesting personality. The way he engages with his viewership on a very low intellectual level. We don't really have that sort of thing going on over here in the UK. Our politics shows are always very dry, very non-partisan. They're not really the sort of thing we find over in America at all. There's no sort of combination of our news shows as well are also very, very non-partisan and sort of strive to be as non-politically biased as possible. I mean, having recently looked at Fox, it strikes me as really quite odd how political they are with their news. But anyway, back to the situation. I wanted to talk about Bill O'Reilly, and the way I see him is that, well, his biggest problem for me is that he makes these vast assumptions about people. I mean, looking at his cause and the title of his book, Culture War, he categorises these whole groups of people. He has this category called secular progressives, which is a term I'd never heard before. And in this category, he puts a whole portmanteau of various ideologies. He puts in liberals, libertarians, socialists, atheists, agnostics. I mean, all these people that have at many points in time absolutely loathed each other. I mean, liberals and socialists, I mean, in the last century or so, have been right at each other's throats, but here he puts them together and sort of categorises them as sort of an almost sinister conspiracy, if you will. It's really quite bizarre. Also, another thing I've noticed with Bill O'Reilly is his massive ignorance, really. When he's talking about the Iraq War, he frequently brings up the example of Adolf Hitler, and if we had acted in a preemptive way with Hitler, then the Second World War wouldn't have happened, and blah blah blah. But this isn't the case, I'm afraid. It's not only is it a fallacy to apply a 70-year-old situation to modern day. I mean, the society is completely different 70 years ago. Politics was completely different 70 years ago. But even if we are taking it to that level, if we had taken preemptive action against Hitler, that wouldn't have it would have been even worse possibly, because we wouldn't have had the help from the USSR. You see, because the Nazi-Soviet Pact sort of guaranteed a sort of it was an alliance between Nazi Germany and the USSR, and Stalin genuinely believed in this pact. He was absolutely shocked and surprised. I mean, he fell into a midlife crisis because of this. He was shocked and surprised when Hitler broke the pact and invaded Russia. I mean, Stalin really did not want to fight Hitler, and if we had attacked, we would have been on our own against Hitler. And well, I don't really want to speculate too much about this or read too much into it, but you can see that it's not as black and white as he says at all. Another interesting thing about Bill O'Reilly is that he seems to generate facts and figures out of thin air. I mean, he talks about 48% of UK residents being atheists, which is bollocks. It's only about a quarter of UK residents are atheists, and agnostics as a sort of collective group. And then he also goes on to say that 87% of Jon Stewart's audience are quote-unquote stone slackers, which I'm still struggling to find out how you can actually ascertain such information. How can you find out whether these slackers are stoned at the time of watching? It's just so bizarre. One final thing I want to say about Bill O'Reilly is that he is incredibly thin-skinned. I mean, he cannot take criticism at all, and he frequently calls his critics, he calls them far left and extremists, and he's incredibly petty. He's always emphasising his popularity at every point possible. He said, for example, when he's talking about Stephen Colbert, he keeps saying, "Oh, I've got a bigger audience. I've got a bigger viewership than him." And when he invites Stephen Colbert on, and when Colbert starts flattering him incessantly, he's very receptive to this flattery and sort of soaks it all in. It seems he seems like he needs to prove himself to someone. He seems very shallow, if you will. So anyway, these are just my thoughts, really. I mean, feel free to post replies and what you think. I'm sorry I sort of strayed away from the point, but it's just a strange phenomenon to me, because here in Britain we don't really have this sort of very this sort of personality which takes on a very political stance. Yes, we have people like George Galloway, but these are members of Parliament technically, and they're professional politicians. So, despite going on Big Brother and being on the TV a lot of the time, these are actually being paid to talk about politics on a sort of in a democratic way. And the strong TV personalities that we have are all entertainment based, not about politics at all. I mean, Jonathan Ross, possibly, I think he's the most well-paid TV personality we have here. He doesn't talk about politics at all in his show. It's all interviewing people and entertainment. So yeah, I mean, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope the audio came out okay, and tune in next time.